This is the first episode of hopefully many of what we're now calling the Process Podcast. My name is Dylan,
And I'm Zach.
and we are best friends, industrial designers, recent graduates from Humber College's industrial design program. And this is kind of just our way of, I don't know, how would you call it? Like creative expression?
Creative expression, our way of reminiscing, possibly.
Reminiscing, yeah. A lot of nostalgia,
A lot of
a
nostalgia.
lot of nostalgic
Talking about the
talks.
good times and the bad.
That's the thing with design school. There's a lot of good times, but there's an equal amount of bad times, but the bad times aren't bad in, say, a negative sense. It's more just crippling depression and sadness and
Stressful learning.
stressful learning. I like
Stressful
that.
learning.
Maybe we'll call that can be the episode title.
The
We'll
episode
call it
name. 100%.
stressful learning.
Stressful learning. I like it.
So, like, our goal with the process, and we can get more into the name of why we decided to go with the name the process as we get into it, was kind of just because, what was I talking about? I've already lost my train of thought.
The process. I guess
Yeah.
the name. How we came up with it. Or the
Well,
meaning.
you came up with the name.
How I came up with it on accident, like
Yeah.
usual.
We were just in mid conversation eating poutine, shawarma poutine,
Shawarma poutine.
which is very good. And you said that phrase, and all of a sudden, boom, it was like, yeah, that's what we have to do.
Yeah. Well, I think it plays on what you were just talking about, or I guess what we were talking about the reminiscing and our experience going through design school and our experience of now graduating and going into the real world. It's based on the process of that entire process from first day, first year till graduation, and now, and it's our process of us starting this or trying to start this.
Yeah, big time. It's like process of life.
Process of life.
I think we started off with the vision of it would be solely focused on the creative aspect of things and like a creative process. And then we kind of realized in talking about it that the whole concept of the creative process, or any process in general, applies to more than just creativity. Like the person that we started the program as we started in 2016. The people that we were then as individuals are completely different than the people we are now. And we've gone through a change and an evolution in the last 4 years. And that's also part of that process, that evolution, that growth. And I don't know, I find that stuff really interesting.
Yeah, me too. I think the creative process is really cool. And in the process of anything else.
Yeah. Like
in life,
trying to find a
cool.
job. What's the process of trying to find a job? Terrible.
Trying to find the job, trying to start something.
Yeah. Which I think as creative individuals, you always want to be starting something. Like even when I started the program 4 years ago, it was like, what am I going to do in 4 years? Where am I going to be at the end of it? And what can I make out of that? And obviously I had no idea, because that was 4 years ago and a whole different person ago.
Yeah. Fresh out of high school.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. We both came right out of high school. So we both graduated. I guess we would have graduated high school in June 2016, and then started in September 6th, which is actually yesterday. So
wow.
Yeah,
hey, that's full circle.
I looked back because I remember waking up on the first day of school and on the first day of college and making a note on my iPhone 5C, the green one, which is still one of my favorite. The classic plastic one. And I made a note and it said, today is my first day of college. And I scrolled back through it yesterday to find it. I was like, wow.
That's
and it's
full memory.
September 6th, 2016 at like 6:45 a.m. I'm like, wow. Isn't that strange to think about?
That is strange. Full circle. Honestly.
Like 4 years.
4 years.
4 years.
I know it went by extremely
It
quickly.
flew by.
Flew by. Quicker than high school went, for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Like high school went fast, or it felt like it went fast, but um, college went even
College
faster.
just disappeared. I
Yeah,
remember first year definitely felt the longest. I remember that. First year felt the longest. Second year was, I'd say second year was pretty normal. We had
second.
a college strike in our second year
Yeah,
in like October and November.
October. Yeah, I think the last week of October,
I want to say October
or
16th for some reason.
like halfway through. Yeah,
That sticks in
somewhere
mind
like
because
that.
it
Yeah,
was the week after Thanksgiving,
right. We came
Canadian
back.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
And then we were off until end of November, maybe
yeah,
something like that.
something like that. Yeah, we came back only for a couple of weeks, and then we were off for Christmas break.
Yeah.
I think, right?
And then we had a shortened Christmas break, and then we came back and we had a longer semester, second semester, because they had to make up
Yeah,
for all the
it was like longer by 2 weeks or something, or
yeah.
two
We
weeks.
went to like the end of April when typically we finished at the beginning of April,
Yeah,
I
it was like the
think.
28th instead of the 18th or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm sure.
Something like that. But even I remember even second year was I enjoyed second year um somewhat, and then third year and fourth year felt just like an absolute blur,
Yeah,
right?
it kind of. I feel like it kind of morphed into one
Yeah, it
long
felt like
year. It
just
felt
one
like.
big long year
Yeah.
because we had our third year and then we had to do an internship and then
Right.
coming back into
Fourth.
fourth year there was no, I guess there was no real summer break, it felt like.
No, especially with thinking about thesis through the summer
Yeah.
and then starting it first day back for fourth year.
It was like, all right, we're into this.
Yeah, it all just looped together and it was, yeah, it
It was
felt like a
fast.
long year for
It's like
sure.
8 months of school, 4 months of work, and then another 8 months of school, and then we were done.
Yeah.
But like to think about the fact that that journey and that process started 4 years ago still blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's like it just still doesn't feel like it's been 4 years.
No, it feels like we started, a few weeks ago,
Yeah,
really.
it does because especially like I can remember a lot of the stuff that we were doing. Like I can remember what I was doing the days before moving into because I lived in res in my first and second year of school, and I remember the stuff that I was doing in the days leading up to that, and like, oh, I'm about to start this industrial design program, and it's going to be super cool.
Yeah.
And then now I'm sitting here like, oh, I've done this industrial design program. This is really cool. Now what?
Yeah, now what? The big question.
There's just like a big empty void.
Yeah, I remember the first day so clearly.
Yeah.
The first day, getting up early, scared, not knowing, post secondary what it's gonna be like.
What time did you get up that day on the
I think
first
I
day of
was up
school?
probably around 6:20. I got up
6:20 in the
a
morning.
little bit
Yeah.
earlier because I was worried about missing it or something, and I was a bit nervous.
Having to find the class too, find
Having
out
fun
where the
that
room
was
is.
also trying to navigate through the buildings, trying to find the class, the not so well marked classroom number.
No, it's terrible.
Trying to think, the first was it 115?
I think so. My first class was in 117.
Because the first semester we were in the opposite
Yeah, we were in
one.
opposite blocks of
You were in
classes.
2D design principles
Yes.
in the morning, and I was in visual
Yeah,
communications
you had visual
one.
communications.
And then the second semester is when we had the same
Yeah, the second
schedule.
second semester we had the same classes because we were in the same studio class.
Yeah, but I remember going into finding the class, awkwardly making eye contact with all these people I'm going to be going to school with for the next 4 years. Um,
Who was the first person that you remember like noticing?
I think the first person I noticed and the first person I talked to, I think was Chad,
Oh, Chad. Wow.
because um, I think he said something to me, or we just started, small talk, started a conversation. So I sat beside him,
Wow.
in Catherine's visual communication one. You know, already I liked the room, so I was like, hey, going from high school into a room like this looks, the building looks designer y.
Yeah, it
right?
it fits the vibe, it fits the
It
aesthetic.
fits the aesthetic and all the tables, the drawing tables. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
this is cool. I like this. Sitting there not really knowing what's gonna happen. Then Catherine walks in, introduces. We had that little, introduce yourself
Oh, I hate
moment where we had
that.
to stand up and
Oh,
say our name and
what's
where
one
we're
cool thing
from.
about you?
Yeah, and then one thing you did in the summer or something, I think it was, or one cool thing or whatever like that. And I remember kind of when I first time met Jack
Oh,
because
yeah.
because when he introduced himself and he said he was from Kitchener, I was like, oh, someone who's close.
Yeah,
The only person in the class that was actually kind of close to where I was. So like, oh, that's cool.
local
Um,
boy.
and then after that awkward introduction was done, um, feeling a little bit better.
Yeah,
Didn't feel quite as nervous. Everyone
anxiety's
seemed
gone
friendly and
down a
everyone
bit.
seemed nervous anyways.
Yeah, everyone's in the same boat, that's the thing.
Um, and I remember, okay, what's the first thing we're gonna do? And then I think Catherine goes through the um, outline of the semester, roughly, of what we're gonna be doing. I think
Right.
introduce the sketchbook assignment,
Oh,
which was kind of
yeah.
cool
I
at the
remember I
time.
remember the prospect of that. It's like, "Oh, wow, that's
Yeah,
gonna be
having to
fun."
do a sketchbook and filling it up, and I get to go through this list of things to draw. Sounds
It's like,
cool.
"Oh, cool. I don't have to think about what to draw."
Yeah, that was really
Finally.
cool. And then the first, I'm sure you probably remember it too. The first kind of thing we did in the class was here's a bucket full of random
Oh, all those
objects,
random products and
and you had to
stuff.
go and pick one, and now you have to sketch it.
Yeah.
And I remember, you know, I get up there late, so there's only a few things left in the box.
You're kinda just standing
I,
sheepishly at the back of this
yeah,
group
not
of people.
really. Yeah,
All like the real confident people are all reaching in like, I'm gonna draw this."
yeah. And I remember reaching in, picking it out, and it was one of those like slideshow pointers, little
Oh,
remotes that you
like a
can,
clicker, like
little
a
clicker. That was, yeah, clicker. It was one of those. I'm like, oh, this doesn't look too hard to draw.
Yeah,
Everyone's still going off of their like art class, high school art class skills, thinking like, oh, this is gonna be, I'm
it's
just gonna
gonna be
sketch it
easy.
like I would sketch a
It's just a still life.
still life. Go back to the desk, start sketching it like I would. And the big thing too, the big shock was when she's like, oh, you have to sketch in pen.
I was like, "Excuse me?
And all of us looking at each other like,
Like a pen?
sketching in pen?
What is that?"
Like, no, 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 we don't sketch in pen.
"No, we
Like,
don't
what do
sketch
you
it.
mean sketch in
Give
pen?
me my pencil
This is
back."
this is this is like this is crazy. No one does this. Um, and then sketching it with like the little wrist movement, like you would in like a fine art type
Oh, yeah.
way of sketching. And then realizing very quickly that apparently I don't know how to sketch because
Yeah,
this
you
thing
you
on the
get that.
page, I can tell you it didn't look like the clicker. I still have the page
Do you?
somewhere at home, the
Wow.
first sketch, or I have it somewhere, and I've been meaning to frame it
Yeah, no, you
because I think it's
you need
dated
to get it. We
too.
need to get a picture of that.
So I need to frame it and put on my wall as a little, kind of a cool little reminder of like, look where look where you started.
That's the start of the
That
process.
is the first day
Name drop.
of design school. Yeah, that is the beginning of the process. Um, and then obviously after that, when the classes switched, I guess you would have had that experience with.
Yeah, then I went in because I started because we were in different blocks, and it was I think like the way that the school we went to, Humber College, had set up the classes was there's two or was it two or three? I think it was just two.
Two, yeah, it was two.
Two like blocks of classes, and it was basically just the opposite schedules,
Yeah,
the same classes. Some of them were on different days, and we would go because when you were in that visual communications class, I was in the same room effectively, but it was divided by
yeah,
these like
yeah,
noise canceling partitions or wall segments or something. So I could sitting at the back of this room in room 117. I remember I remember this room vividly because it had this like a tiered section around it
yeah.
where it was raised above the ground of everything else, and to me that just screamed design school
Design
and like
studio, yeah,
studio aesthetic.
yeah,
Like I can stand above the ground and sit at a desk and draw. And for some reason that just seemed really cool. And I remember you could look straight through because there was all those windows in these wall partitions, and I could see right through, and I could see this other class and see all these people like bustling up and walking around, probably like going to get these random
Yeah,
objects out of that
yeah,
box. And the first class that I had was 2D design principles with Odin Capello, who is he's definitely the cool cat of the Humber College
yeah,
professors.
definitely. Cool name,
He's named after a god.
cool company. Yeah, yeah, that's kind of a good way
Yeah,
to start.
he's got a really wicked eyewear brand. And even that's another thing. Like when we started school, that was like a new thing for him. Like
Yeah,
the look again eyewear was something new and something that he was just getting into. And then now, if you look at where he is now with it, it's grown a lot. Like he has his own storefront and everything,
yeah,
and that's we have to chat to him at some point.
yeah. That'd be really
See if
cool
he'd be
to.
willing to anyways.
I think. Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, I always thought too it was cool. Again, going from high school to post secondary, being in a program where our professors were, not just professors.
Yeah.
A lot of them had something else that they had worked on,
Yeah, like a second
like a
job
second job.
or a company.
Yeah, their own little design business, little kind of side hustle thing, or when each of them did their introduction of themselves,
Yeah.
and just hearing, oh, like they worked at this company or started this company,
I'm
or
like,
they're doing
"Oh,
this as well. It was cool to have like, okay, you're professors, but a little bit different from what we're used to.
yeah.
This year's like professors that actually have been successful in the design industry,
Yeah, they have real
real
world
world
experience."
experience and knowledge, which was cool. I think
Yeah.
important.
I remember Odin talking about how he cuz he did work for Calvin Klein, I think. I'll have to double check that, but I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure he did some stuff for Calvin Klein or uh, something else that I remember hearing and I was like, "Whoa. Like that's pretty cool. This guy's legit." And he comes in wearing this like real fancy dress shirt that's got like these Asian style tigers on it, I'm pretty sure, and like black skinny jeans and these big black combat boots. It was a hot day
Oh
too.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember the first day of school it was like a dark grayish humid day. I'm like, oh, this isn't the way that I want to start school. I don't want to start school on a rainy day. But first class with him was definitely interesting. I remember I'm not a very talkative person if I don't know the people that are around me.
Hmm.
So I was very content to just sit back and not say anything at all. I remember the guy sitting to my right was Evan
Hmm.
Demchak. And Evan is absolutely ridiculous. First off, the guy's insane.
Very
Um,
talented.
Talented designer, but also a talented artist.
Hmm.
So we need to talk to him at some point too. And he actually lives around this area.
Oh really?
He's just north of me by like 20 minutes, maybe, I think. But I remember talking to him a little bit and I'm like, oh, this first person I talk to, I'm going to nail him down. I'm going to make him my friend and I'm going to talk to him every single day. And then boom, that's going to be it. And I'm going to have my one friend in design and then that's going to be it. That's going to be all I need. And that mentality obviously changed because that was just the mentality going into it. Cause I think I was scared and definitely intimidated
Hmm.
because you're going, especially for us coming out of high school, it was can't speak for everybody, but for the most part, I feel like if we're coming out of high school, we're coming out of being one of, if not the top individual in our high school class in the art class or the design
Yeah.
program or whatever was at that high school that piqued our interest. Odds are we were the best at it, best in the class, and that's why we're here. Like I know for me, I got had whatever art awards were at graduation and got all those and I was comfortable at that point because I was always used to being on the top, always used to getting that 95 or
Hmm.
100%. And then coming into college, kind of knowing that odds are I would not be at the top, and odds are, for the most part, probably just learn to be content with being in the middle was like, I think that was intimidating,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
It's
Like, I don't
definitely
know if that was
tough.
the same for you, but I felt that for sure. And I was like, ugh,
Definitely same for me. I mean, I didn't get any art awards. I mean, in grade 12, I didn't even take art. I took art all the way through
wow,
school, and in grade 12, I didn't, which
shame.
for reasons I'll probably go into later. But I was definitely at the top. I was in the top few
Yeah.
of my art class.
You're known as like the art kid,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. I mean, I think the other kind of art kids in high school were girls. I was probably the only guy that was like really into it. So like
Yeah.
any class, like I remember like any science class or something, we have to draw a diagram or something, and everyone would be, can you draw this for me?
It's like, Zach, can you draw this
Yeah, I got you. But
draw the mitochondria. It's the powerhouse of the cell.
power of the cell. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. But then definitely as well, like we didn't have any. My high school didn't have any like design, I guess, classes. But we
Oh
had.
no.
I was in 4-H high school. I was in like a drafting class.
Oh, like a technical
Yeah,
drafting,
technical
right?
drawing class. Yeah, like more like architectural floor plan type thing.
Yeah.
Um, which I was probably the top in the class or up there. Like I was definitely like most interested in it. Same with the
Hmm.
art. But yeah, coming in again, thinking you know how to sketch,
Yeah.
or thinking that you're okay. I'm good at whatever. It's just a small class, but I think I'm going to do well. And then all of a sudden, realizing
All
like
of a sudden
very
you realize
quickly,
your
like
shit and you're
oh
like, oh
maybe
no.
maybe this is not going to go as well as I thought.
Yeah.
And then getting the first few marks back, you're like, oh,
That was
okay,
terrifying.
well, okay, I guess
I
I got
hated
it's very
that.
humbling, you know.
It's a humbling experience and
Yeah.
it's necessary, but it still sucks.
And I think obviously there was people um that are at the top at the beginning,
Oh yeah.
and some of them stayed at the top
Hmm. For sure.
um throughout the years. But I think for the most part, I think everyone kind of felt that, like, oh, okay,
That
that
intimidation
intimidation
factor.
and realizing, okay, maybe these art skills that we all thought we had or whatever might not be as good as we thought,
Yeah.
or might not be, in the same kind of style, or thinking that we were gonna have to, you know, get into when it comes to design.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? Like, oh, I may not be as good as everyone's told me that I am in the last
Yeah,
5, 10, 15 years of my life. You're like for me, it was I grew up and everyone's like, "Oh, can you draw this for me? Can you draw this?" Like grade 8, end of grade 8, it was like, "Oh, Dylan, it's your turn. You're going to paint the mural this year. You're going to
yeah,
do the cover for the art for the yearbook." And I'm like, "Of course, like who else would it be?" And then same thing once I got into high school, it was like once once I had one opportunity to show what I could do, it was like boom, just you just skyrocket right up there. And
yeah.
then coming into college, remember that first day? I'm trying to remember the first assignment that we did. Oh,
For visual communications, it was
no, not for visual communications, for 2D design principles. I think we just had to draw um, like shapes, polygons in a square, and like arrange the different things.
oh yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
remember that? I think
I think so.
no. Wait, no. No, I remember this now because Odin had sent us an email the day before, saying like bring these particular items to class, and it was 11 by 17 paper. I'm pretty sure, and I probably still have the email, so I can probably check. But it was 11 by 17 paper, pens or something like that, and I think that was it. And we had to. He gave us words like just a word. I think they were depicting emotions. One of them was like stress,
Hmm.
and then we had to using the
Oh
pen.
yeah, like lines
Yeah,
and
you remember
shapes
this?
to like represent these.
Yeah,
I think wow, was he trying to get us kind of to start thinking about like the elements and principles
yeah,
of
because
design,
yeah, it
like
was
that
starting to think
stuff,
about
right?
elements and principles of design and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how visually in a 2D
How
format,
you can
how you
communicate
can
that.
convey those things.
Yeah, yeah. I think that was the first
Because
thing.
the first assignment was doing that, but doing it on like a full 11 by 17, rendering it properly in black marker or something like that. We had to take it home and we had to do three. We had to pick three, maybe it was three principles or elements. I'm trying to remember now.
I Yeah, no, I think it was
Something
three
like that.
elements or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I remember one of mine was tension. One of
I
mine was
think one
tension.
of mine was tension too. And it was
And
like doing lines or shapes or whatever where they're like really close,
yeah.
almost touching type thing.
And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be so cool. Look how this big paper is, and
Hmm.
like, it's gonna be so much fun. And then I sit down in the class and like looking around at everybody, like trying to take in, like, okay, like you, you're this person, you're that person, and like noticing like who's talking, who's putting up their hand, who's not talking, trying to pinpoint like who's going to drop out.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like it was, and then we had that first take home assignment. That class finished. That was a long class too. It was the first time that we'd been exposed to classes that were
Right? Like high
college
school
length.
was what? I want to say my high school was an hour 15
Yeah,
each
hour
class,
15,
right?
like 75-minute classes.
And then we go straight to like a 2 hour 45 minute or something like that
Yeah,
class, I think.
because
Because it was
class,
like 8 till 10:45,
yeah,
and we had
8 to
the
10,
hour
8 to
break, and
10:45, and then 11:45 to 12:30 or something, or
something like
something.
that.
No,
Yeah,
something
whatever
later
the
than
math
that.
is. Yeah,
125. 11
1:25.
eleven
Yep,
forty five to
that sounds
125.
about right. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, like surely this won't be that bad. And sitting down, and the concept of a break in the class too, I was
That was also very different.
like what is
Going
this?
from high school, yeah, it was like you don't have to just put your hand up and ask to go to the bathroom,
Yeah, like you
or
just walk out.
wait till lunch to go eat,
Yeah.
and this was like, well, as long as you get your work done, I mean, you can just get up and leave,
Yeah, I
go get a
remember Odin's.
coffee.
Yeah, I remember Odin saying like, yeah, if you guys want to go get a coffee, like is like maybe 9:15, 9:20.
Yeah,
You guys want to go get a coffee, come back by 9:30, and we'll continue. I'm like, what? Like you want me to
what
go
is
out, spend money, and bring food back to class?
like what? This is what?
I don't have to go home
Is it
and have a
lunchtime yet?
snack?
Is this allowed? Is this?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was
it felt strange.
yeah. Some of those things that weren't even like design related or just getting used to post secondary, especially again us coming right out of high school. I mean, we feel like I want to say like half of the overall program was right
Yeah.
out of high school,
Yeah. There was a good percentage
but
of
only
us.
like half. But then like the other half, it was again weird going from high school where everyone's pretty much the same age
Yeah.
in your class to going to okay, there's people like they're, we're 18 and there's people like in their late 20s, 30.
Yeah.
That was really strange,
Yeah.
you know.
It never occurred to me that I would end up in a class with people who are like the same age as my parents. I'm like, nah, it wouldn't make sense. Like
Yeah.
I'm in design school. Only young kids take design school.
Yeah.
Only young kids are going to design school. And then there's people who are like 30.
Yeah, and it was funny because like, and those are, they're probably already taken a program before
Yeah.
post secondary, so they know what it's like. It's like, oh yeah, they'll go out, get a coffee, get some lunch, come back, and we're less like,
I was
what
like,
is
what?
this? This is so strange.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Like it was almost like culture shock. Like you go to a
Yeah.
new country for the first time,
Yeah.
you step off the airplane, you walk out of the airport, you're trying to get a taxi and you can't get a taxi because you don't speak the language.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of felt like. I'm like, what? Like what? People are going on breaks. Like
Not
these
knowing.
people are walking. If I don't go and walk on a break with them, they're not going to be my friends ever again.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a chance to talk to them.
Yeah, and I think that's where we started to talk to people. It was like
Yeah.
someone would be like, "Hey, we're going to get a coffee. You want to come with us?" And you're like,
I'm
"Yeah,
like,
well,
yeah,
no.
yeah, I suppose I can do that.
I suppose I can do that." And you're going there, and you're like, "What am I
What
doing?
is
Like,
this?
there's
Yeah.
class going on. Like, we should be in class. No, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Then you think like I'm paying for this, paying for
yeah,
this coffee and the time to
and the
go and
time,
get this coffee.
yeah, it was definitely a strange experience. I remember the first Bizcom assignment too.
What
The
was that one?
cubes.
Oh yeah, perspective
I
cubes.
think it was the cubes. Yeah, it was the
Yeah.
cubes. It's like you draw a cube and now draw like a little groove or a little embossed piece or something on the cube.
Yeah. Like someone's punched a circle into it.
Yeah, or like cut a groove into it or whatever. Drill the hole through it and now draw this but rotate it on the page.
Yeah.
Make it upside down on its side, flip it over, and I'm thinking,
What?
okay, I can draw a cube. Like, come on,
Yeah.
this is like one of the
Not
easiest shapes ever.
not a casual.
Yeah, I'm not a casual. And then I'm almost thinking too, well, I had 4 years of drafting class
Yeah, this
in
should be
high
fine.
school. I have a good idea of technical drawing and, you know, visualizing 3D. I can just rotate this in my mind, draw it easy,
Yeah.
you know? I don't
The
think
idea of
the
it
big
is
thing too was
simple.
like no rulers because we had to learn how to draw
Yeah. No
a ruler,
rulers and
right?
no pencils and no erasers. It was all pen, and like once you make a line, that's where that line is.
Yeah.
Get used to it.
And so we're drawing this and again thinking, oh, this is gonna be fine. Do a few practices in class and teachers come around thinking, well, it's not bad, try this, whatever, and you're like, okay, and then
It's
take it
looking pretty
home and
good.
you're like, why can't I draw cubes?
Yeah.
Like why is this so difficult, right?
You get real in your head. You're like, Oh my gosh.
I think that was one of the biggest things too, starting when Catherine, the classic line of elbow shoulder movement.
Yep. Big thing.
Whenever I explain to people, friends outside the program, and they'd be like, "Oh, it must be pretty easy for you if you're art background." And you're
So,
like, "Well, maybe the way of thinking creatively, sure,
yeah,
that carries over, but
definitely helps.
trying to, you know, describe to them like, oh, we have to learn how to draw differently." And they're like, "What do you mean
Yeah.
draw differently? Like, isn't there just you just draw?"
It's like, well,
And it's
yes,
like,
but
well,
no.
yeah, well, yes, but actually no. Like it's different, when you describe like, oh, you draw this with a ruler and everything and
Hmm.
pencil and you just erase it and clean it up. And he's like, well, yeah, we have to do that, but without a ruler and in pen. And they're like, oh, that's weird or something. They're like, yeah, like
Why would they make you do that?
it's hard to describe to someone. Yeah, we have to learn not to draw with our wrist, but with our elbow and our shoulder.
With your entire arm.
Yeah, people just think we're crazy when we're,
Like, all right.
describing drawing in a design way rather than a fine art
Then an
kind of way.
artistic way.
And
Yeah.
again, I remember that just before starting that in class sketching thing, and
On the
Catherine
first day.
saying, uh, you know, anyone here from an art background, and pretty much the entire class puts their hand
Most
up,
people put their hand up.
and she says, "All right, that's good, but so am I, but like forget everything you know
Yeah.
about art."
Like, oh man, I was good at art.
And we're like, what do you mean? Like,
Yeah.
isn't this sketching? Like, how can
Yeah.
this be any different? Like, what do you mean? Forget, we're gonna teach you how to sketch. It's like, well, I know how to sketch. And then you're like, no, you gotta sketch like this. And I remember, actually, I think I remember too. Like, it was probably after that first object,
Hmm.
still life type kind of
You're
drawing,
the clicker.
the clicker.
The clicker.
Just, I think it was probably after that. Um, Doing just like practicing drawing lines in with the
Yeah.
elbow and the shoulder,
That's right. Trying
and
to
doing
go all the way
ellipses
across the
too,
page.
and like doing the motion. I remember like having trouble with this drawing lines.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds so silly.
Moto motion, she called it, which I
Yeah,
don't, still to this day, don't know what moto motion means. I think it's motor motion,
I think, yeah, something like that.
maybe.
Yeah,
But she's got, like, our prof had that Malaysian Australian accent.
interesting
So
mix. Yeah,
motor motion, motor motion.
yeah. Thinking about like, oh, drawing a line is like, we're art students. It's like the
It's like,
easiest
oh,
thing.
I
What do
can
you mean
draw a
drawing a line?
line
I do
easy.
that, in my sleep. And then, okay, now draw a straight line without a ruler
Yeah.
and in a pen, with a pen. And you're like, okay, and you draw it, and you're like, why can't I not draw?
Yeah.
You're like, all of a sudden you forgot how to use your arm or something.
Yeah. It's
And then
bizarre,
trying to
isn't
do
it?
it with ellipses too. I was like, well, isn't there a template for this? And they're like, no, 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 no. That's like,
You don't need a template.
you don't
Just
don't
learn it.
don't use those words. Template? What? No,
It's a sin.
You're doing this freehand. And again, you think, oh, it's a circle or it's an ellipse. Like, it's not hard. And you just sketch it. You're like, why does it look crap?
Yeah. That's the thing,
You
is like
know?
a lot of the stuff, even for the first semester, just looked terrible. Even
Hmm.
though, so okay, maybe we got a 75%, which is good. If you can get a 75%,
You're doing well.
you're doing very well. But to consistently, especially like for us with a good, strong art background, when you draw something and it looks bad, you're inclined to fix it. You're like, oh, well, if I drew that, I must be bad. If
Yeah.
I drew this circle and it teacher or prof says it's bad, it must be bad. Therefore, I must be bad. Like, I'm not as advanced as I thought I
Hmm.
was. So then taking that and then realizing, no, you just keep doing bad work, and then eventually it's going to get better,
Yeah.
was just a strange thing to comprehend. Like, it almost doesn't make sense.
Yeah, when they're telling you, fill up as many pages with lines and circles.
I'm like, I don't want to waste paper. I
Which
like
is like,
trees.
now to this day, I still do that for
Yeah.
warming up,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Like, just
Back of my
drawing
sketchbook is just filled with
lines
lines
and
and
circles.
scratches and scribbles.
Circles, yeah.
And
Yeah,
it's trying to think of the right word for it. It's the way to the way that I do it is to, like, defrazzle my brain. I'll be like, okay, I'm just going to get this out a little bit. And it's like, maybe it's 4 lines and a circle, just a scribble on the page. But then that's all it takes. And then when I go onto the page and I'm actually sketching something, it feels a lot cleaner
yeah.
and it's just nicer in every single way.
Yeah, just getting that warm up in
Yeah.
a few reps.
And
Ugh.
that was hard to understand of that that's just maybe what you have to do. Because I remember for my when I had visual communications in the afternoon, oh, I've got a good story about this. Remember Catherine told us to go on a break,
Yeah.
and I had no clue that there was a cafeteria in the school. So I ran back to res in the
Oh
afternoon
man.
and got a donut from the cafeteria in res and then came back to class and still wasn't late. But I was like sweating. I was like, oh my gosh. But the donut was good. But I remembered that day I drew a colander, like what you steam
Hmm.
broccoli in. And I remember Catherine coming up behind me as I'm drawing it. She's like, "Oh, you pick a hard one," because she had a very strong Malaysian Australian accent. So it was like not quite an Aussie accent,
Yeah.
but not a full Malaysian accent. There's a strange mix of both.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh no, that's a hard one. Like you're gonna struggle with that." And I'm like, "I got this.
I
I'll
got
be
this.
fine."
I got this, Catherine. I draw people.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
do
you don't know
art.
what I. You don't know what. Come on,
You don't know what I can do.
it's easy.
But then I think, oh no, she's seen my portfolio, so she does know what I can do. And then I
Yeah.
drew the thing and it looked terrible. And she's like, "See, I told you." Yeah, yeah, I guess you did tell me,
Yeah.
but I just didn't want to listen.
Yeah. That was. I mean, that was again. Unless you come from an art background and you're pretty experienced with it, and you try to go into more of like a design background, it's the only way to really understand the idea of having to unlearn
Yeah.
a way of sketching, a way of drawing, and then learn a new way.
And that's what it was. It was unlearning how to draw artistically
Which is
and learn
weird.
how to draw
Yeah.
in the industrial design method.
Because it's pretty, I know I was pretty stubborn at first. Like I'm trying to draw with my elbow and my shoulder, drawing this clicker, and I'm like, this just isn't coming out well. So I, do one that's like more how I'm used to.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, maybe the shape's coming out a bit better, but like it's those, especially with pen, it's those hairy lines. Where
Yeah.
usually I'd be like, oh, I'll just clean up with an eraser after.
It's artistic. It's my
It's
style.
my style. And then, someone coming around looking at it being like, no, no, nope,
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 you suck.
don't move your wrist, don't do it.
Yeah, it's
Right?
like locking your wrist so that your elbow basically just goes straight into your hand
Yeah.
and your wrist does not move at all. You're pivoting off your elbow and
Yeah.
then you're rotating with your shoulder.
Yeah. It's a weird thing to learn. It's a weird motion. It
It
felt really weird. And
it
now it's
is.
like, I guess it's just second
Now
nature.
it's second
Now
nature.
it feels weird sketching the old
It
way, I
feels
should
weird
say.
to sketch artistically now. I tried
Oh,
to do that the other day. I did a painting in end of May, like the it's an alien girl and she's on the wall and you can't see it. But I remember trying to draw like do thumbnail sketches for that and I was like, this is bizarrely hard.
yeah.
And it shouldn't be bizarrely hard because
Yeah.
I know how to do it. But it was again, it's like that unlearning process.
Yeah.
Did you have an elective on your first day of school?
I'm trying to think if I had
Because I know I did.
I don't know if it was the first day or I know the first semester I did. The first day was it would have been a Tuesday.
First day was a Tuesday.
Oh yeah, yeah, I did that.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I had it was Viscom, 2D design principle, and then yeah, I had an underground economy,
underground economy. Yeah, that was a
which
long
is actually
day.
kind of cool. I like enjoyed that class.
It was like an 8 to 5. It was effectively an 8 to 5
An eight to
school day.
five school day.
I remember thinking like, wow, I've been in school as long as like some people like that's like a full day of
Of
work.
work.
That's like a full-time job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, man, I'm an adult now. And
Yeah,
I'm like
or
sick,
thinking so.
just turned 18. And it was I had what was it called? Music, meaning, and values. With
Mm,
remember the guy's name, Mark H. Whale, who was a
sounds like an author.
I think he wrote some kind of a book about psychology and
Mm.
music, and he's had a very strong British accent.
Oh, cool.
Don't know where in the from Britain he was from, but he had an accent. And one of the days in class, he played his violin, and he was like, "Tell me how you feel."
Oh wow.
And I recorded a video of it, and I was like, "There's no way that I'm paying like $17,000 in residence fees and tuition fees and just general school fees to have this meatball play his violin for me
Yeah, that's
and
kind of
expect me
strange.
to learn something." I understand where he was coming from. I just didn't want to hear it at the time. But that was a long day. because we had class in the morning, 8 to 10:45, hour break, second class, and then 10-15 minute break, and then the elective.
Yeah.
And that wrapped up day one of design school.
That was a long first day. I
Yeah.
remember coming home and being absolutely
What
exhausted.
did you do that night when you got home?
I
If
honestly,
it's PG.
I think I think I actually super lame, but I actually just for a while filled up more pages of lines and circles
Really?
because I was so frustrated. You
Frustrated
know?
because you couldn't draw because you sucked.
Yeah, because I sucked. I'm like going through the whole day being like, especially having that in the morning, the very first class of design school,
Yeah,
of
you
know
get really into it. You're like, oh,
being
all hyped
told
up.
that or realizing that you're actually nowhere near as good. And you're basically going back to square one.
Yeah.
And going coming from drawing pretty cool stuff, pretty complex stuff, to now not being able to draw a cube
Yeah, it was scary, wasn't
or
it?
can't even draw a line or a circle. And you're like, well, okay, well,
Uh-oh.
I should probably do something about this. Or I might have, and I think I probably started the sketchbook too. Whatever the first,
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think the very first thing in the sketchbook. I want to say it was almost like
Spray bottle.
a spray bottle,
Spray
like a hand
bottle.
sanitizer
Yeah.
type bottle or something like that, right?
Which is now all the more relevant given COVID-19.
Yeah. Which
But
again, I have. I mean, I have. I'm sure. Actually, I know all you have all your sketchbooks too. I know I still
I
have
have
that
most of them. I have
because it's kept
I
somewhere.
have about they're in a container behind you actually. I want to say I have 50% of the actual sketchbooks that I did in school. All the all of my first year sketchbooks with the exemption of sketchbooks done for like the 2D design principles class. Um, First year and third year, I don't have my sketchbooks for. I have photos of them and photos of the pages, but Prof. Catherine Chong has kept all of them.
Yeah,
And I would like to get them back, maybe go back in 4 or 5 years. Say, hey, can I keep these,
yeah.
please?
They're cool memories. I mean, I looked at them maybe a few months ago because I was trying to find a sketch I did from
Mm,
like third year or fourth year or something like that. And then I decided to label which ones were which, and going back and looking at the very first sketchbook sketch of that bottle,
yeah.
I'm like, this is even worse than the clicker. Like
Yeah.
this is when I was like, okay, draw something, and it wasn't like, oh, still life where you can do like a viewpoint where it's almost just like a profile on a table. It's like, no, you're like, it's product sketching where you're
Yeah.
like,
You got to draw the details.
you gotta look at it as if it's on a table and you're looking down on it. It's got to be perspective, and they're like,
Yeah.
start with a box, but you're like, but I got to draw something very curvy.
How can I start with a box? Doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
That could be a whole rant in itself.
how do you draw? Start with a box. It's the other name of another episode. Start with a box. Um, but yeah, doing that in the first sketch, being like, this is just awful.
Yeah.
And I think the whole first sketchbook was like that. If I was to put a word to that one sketchbook, it was awful.
Yeah.
Drawing
Yeah. No, I'd say the same.
that first sketchbook,
I think so. It
but
was
also was a great starting point.
That's the thing. It's all part of the process.
Part of the process.
And I think on that note, probably be a good point to wrap up episode one.
So one.
Episode one. In the books, we did it. We've talked about doing it for a while, of like a design,
Mhm.
life, creativity focused podcast. And the other day we were like, we will do it. It's just a
Yeah, we
matter
got to
of
start
when.
it.
And then bought microphones off of Amazon,
Here we are.
and here we are. And that was that.
And we're doing it.
It's like just jump right in. Might as well. So if you've made it this far, um, and wherever you're listening, subscribe, follow, listen, do whatever you have to do on whatever audio platform you're listening to this on. And if you liked it, leave us a review. If you have a question, you can email hi.theprocesspodcast@gmail.com. Send us questions. We're not professionals. We're not qualified in any way, shape, or form. The only thing we have going for us is that we finished design school and we graduated.
Yeah, just we're kind of qualified.
I have a job. Zach doesn't have a job.
Yeah,
I got a job because I was extremely lucky and in the right place at the right time, and doesn't qualify me over him in any way, shape, or form. Um, but we're not professionals. We're still just trying to figure this whole thing out too, which is uh, which is the exciting part. So
Which is all part of the
it's
process.
all part of the
How
process.
many times can we name drop the name?
Probably a lot. We can
Probably
make
a lot.
make a transcript for it. Control F process
Right.
and
Figure how many times you say
see
it
how
throughout the
many we can get,
episode.
like a process frequency ratio going per
Yeah,
episode, like chart it out on a graph
definitely.
and see, okay, well this week we were really up, and then oh this week we're it's like the stocks just
Yeah,
going up
this
and
week
down
we're a
all the
little
time.
down on our usage of the word
We'll
process.
we'll put a process word count in the show notes, which we'll have to figure out how to do. We'll have to
Yeah.
learn that. But
Yeah, we'll figure that out.
yeah, that's it from us. And thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Catch you guys.
See you later.
Now we'll press the square.